Good afternoon, almost evening. Welcome to Ways in the Afternoon. Committee Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Assembly members Anderson, Backus, Brown May, Dickman, Hafen, Hibbets, Haudegi, Koenig, Mosca, O'Neill, Torres Fawcett, Watts, Yeager,
Here.
and Monroe Moreno. Chair Monroe Moreno. Sorry.
And I am here. Will you please mark Assemblymember Koenig absent excused? Members and those joining us in the audience, I'll remind everyone to turn off their electronic devices or at least put them on mute so they are not disruptive during today's meeting. Members will be using their computers, so please don't think that they are being inattentive. They are following along with the meeting on their computers. We have a few things to go through today. We have a bill introduction that we will do first. We have 3 bills that we are going to work session, and then we will start into our agenda. If you are here for Assembly Bill 508, that bill has been pulled from today's agenda and will be agendized on another day. We will have public comment at the end of today's meeting. And the number for public comment is 888-475-4499. Our meeting ID is 898-860-12496, and then please press pound. And with that, we will get started with our bill introduction. And members, I'll remind you that your vote today is not a vote in favor of this measure. It's just to get the BDR in the process of becoming a bill. So we have BDR 43-1127, revises provisions related to vessels. And I will accept a motion.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Assemblymember Backus, a second from Assemblymember Haudegi. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing any. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. One moment. All right, next up is our work session. Now I'll turn it over to our fiscal analyst, Ms. Kaufman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today we will be work sessioning 3 bills. The first bill on work session is Assembly Bill 232. It was heard by the Committee on Ways and Means on March 28th. Assemblymember Carter was the primary presenter on it. This bill would provide that the school district employees receiving a full year of service credits if they worked at least 900 hours in a school year. The change would apply to both employees of the school districts as well as professional staff for the Nevada System of Higher Education. There was a conceptual amendment that was requested at the hearing. Assemblymember Carter proposed a conceptual amendment to clarify the 900 hours must be across at least 8 calendar months of a school year. There were 14 individuals in support of the bill, as well as one individual who was in opposition and none in neutral. And with that, Madam Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Members, any questions? All right, not seeing any. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
We have discussion. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I believe the conceptual amendment addresses some of my concerns. I'm going to vote this out of committee, but I do want to reserve my right just so I can see the final language. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Assemblymember Dickman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ditto.
Thank you. Seeing no other discussion, we have a motion from Assemblymember Bacchus, a second from Assemblymember Hadigi. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Carter. Next item on our work session is Assembly Bill 347. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Kaufman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 347 was heard in Ways and Means on March 28th, 2025. This bill increases the threshold allowing receipts of gifts and grants from non-governmental sources that do not exceed, or excuse me, from those that do not exceed $200,000 to those that, those that do not exceed $500,000. Any new expenditure authority that would be supported from a gift or grant from non-governmental sources exceeding $500,000 for an executive budget account would require approval from the interim finance committee. There was one individual who was in opposition for this at the hearing, and there were no amendments.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Not seeing any, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion from Assemblymember Bacchus, a second from Assemblymember Watts. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing any. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. And I'll assign that floor statement to myself. The last bill on our work session is Assembly Bill 355, and we'll turn it over to Ms. Kaufman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 355 was heard in the Assembly Committee on Ways and Means on March 28, 2025. The primary sponsor of the bill was the Chair Monroe Moreno. The bill provides that any money remaining in the fund to assist districts in financing capital improvements, as well as the fund to assist rural school districts in financing capital projects at the end of the year must not revert to the general fund and must be carried forward to the next fiscal year. There was an amendment that was proposed by Silver State Government Relations, and that amendment provided in NRS 387.3343 that any gifts, grants, or donations given to the school districts for a specific project on qualified tribal lands, or any interest accrued by the counties or school districts through the retention of funds held for the purposes of building a specific project or qualified on the tribe, that would be that would be, to the extent money was available for those purposes, would be granted to the director of the the director of the Office of Finance determine those capital projects, or that those grants requested for that project of the grants would be made to that fund. And with that, I will answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Members, are there any questions on Assembly Bill 355?
Motion to amend and do. Second.
We have a motion to amend and do pass AB 355, a second from Assemblymember Hadigi. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing any. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? And the motion carries. Assemblymember Carter, I apologize. I did not look up before starting our work session, didn't see that you had made it here, but your bill did pass, and you have the floor statement for that bill. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. I'll give 355 to myself. Thank you. And we'll start on our agenda for today. The first bill that we have on tonight's agenda is Assembly Bill 32, which directs the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Growth and Infrastructure to conduct a study during the 2025-26 interim concerning the Nevada Commission for the reconstruction of the VT Rail of Carson City and Story County. It's not evening yet, almost. So late afternoon. Welcome to Ways.
Thank you, Chair Monroe Moreno. Happy late afternoon, everyone. For the record, my name is Cameron Gresh. I am Carson City's Government Affairs Liaison. I am joined today by Story County Commissioner and V&T Railway Commission Vice Chair, Commissioner Clay Mitchell. This bill, AB 32, was heard in its committee of origin, which is Assembly Growth and Infrastructure. Being as such, I know some of us here today have heard the pitch before, so I'm going to keep it quite abridged to focus on the fiscal impacts that we anticipate from the bill, which are to say minimal to none. But just to give you a little bit of context, AB 32 would direct the 2025 to 2026 Joint Interim Standing Committee on Growth and Infrastructure to conduct a study of the Commission for the V&T Railway for the following purposes: reorganizing the structure of the Commission or modifying the duties or powers of it, improving its long-term financial viability, or terminating the Commission and addressing related issues, including without limitation disposition of the assets of the Commission. These are the three main focuses of the study that we are requesting in this bill. Our reasons for doing so can be summed up as the following. Carson City and Story County are in the position of having to manage a business enterprise centered on tourism with no clear path for growth of the railway in the future. We have no rolling stock. We have no storage or shop or repair facilities. And though the tourism revenue provided by the railroad in its current state isn't enough to offset the costs of maintaining the aging structures or operating historic locomotives, we do still operate in the black, but truth be told, it's becoming harder as our communities, both Story County and Carson City's infrastructure needs continue to grow, as I know that many of you have heard from municipalities and townships in your own districts. That being said, I'll just keep my remarks brief, as I understand this is a fiscally focused committee, and I will go ahead and turn it over to Commissioner Mitchell here, but not without saying that as far as fiscal impacts go, we don't foresee any in our initial drafting of the bill. However, we would like to point out that the V&T Commission is available as it comes to staff time or anything like that. We're more than happy to help, and if there would be any fiscal impact at all, we would anticipate it would be in the form of staff time. And as the requesters of this study, we are more than happy to assist as the interim Growth and Infrastructure Committee needs. So just wanted to put that out there. And Commissioner Mitchell, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Thank you very much, Chair and Committee. Clay Mitchell, Story County. I just wanted to reiterate what Cameron said, that both from the Railway Commission perspective and from the local jurisdictions, we're happy to provide staff resources to help with research or collection of data and analysis to help that committee study go forward. Thank you for considering.
Thank you.
Members, do you have any questions for the presenters? All right, I know that we have Ms. Thornton, our interim, here in the room. If you could come to the table, because I know that the Legislative Council Bureau has indicated that there would be a fiscal impact, but could not determine at the time. So if you could just discuss that.
Thank you, Chair and members. Diane Thornton, Acting Director for the Legislative Council Bureau. Yes, we did estimate that we couldn't determine, only because last interim, each joint interim committee was budgeted for 6 meetings. So whether or not this study could take place within the scope of the joint interim committee, it may or it may not. The members may determine that it needs additional meetings, at which point that would include extra per diem and travel. And that's why we didn't estimate. Thank you.
So I just want to make sure that I understand and I understood it correctly. The 6 meetings are already absorbed in the budget that we have. If it were to go over 6 meetings, that would be an additional cost that was not in our budget.
Assemblymember Monroe Moreno, correct. Diane Thornton for the record.
Thank you. Members, any questions for Ms. Thornton? Yes. Assemblymember Torres Fawcett.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. I know that we had a similar conversation over the interim in government affairs this last session, so I'm just wondering why that wasn't something that could have been discussed at that time, because there was the capacity for the committee, so I'm just not understanding, I guess, what's going to be different by having a study in this way than the work that could have been done this interim.
Who are you directing that question to?
This is to Story County. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember. You'll have to refresh my memory. Clay Mitchell for the record, Story County. I believe there was some presentation that was made. I don't know if what came out of that interim conversation was actually guidance from the legislature on where we can go with this body. A presentation was made, an informational presentation about kind of the status of the body, and we've been looking at different options for sustainable growth in the future, and we felt like we didn't have all of the resources that we needed from a knowledge perspective to know what's possible because it is a state commission. We at the local level are supporting it with local taxes, but we're unclear, for example, should this commission stop operating and we were to dispose of the assets, who would receive the revenue from those assets? Would it go to the state? Would it go to the local jurisdictions that have floated the taxes to fund this? And so this is where we're looking for a bit of guidance to know what's possible so that we can make a plan going forward.
Thank you. I guess I'm just not entirely sure that this is necessary. I feel like this is something that could be done with stakeholder conversations, and so I guess I have more questions, but I can continue that offline.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? All right, not seeing any. Thank you so much for the presentations. I'll ask you to take a step back to the seats, and we'll invite to the table anyone who's here to testify in support of Assembly Bill 32. I'll remind the speakers to state and spell your name for the record. And you have 2 minutes for your comments.
Donna Inverson, Donnainv as in Victor.
Question, is your microphone on?
The light is on.
Okay, perfect.
Donnainv as in Victor, Ersin. I am president of the Historic Virginia and Truckee Trail. We are a nonprofit building a rail trail that will mimic the old Virginia and Truckee Railroad. So far, we have 45 miles built from City Plaza in Reno to South Carson City. And as a nonprofit, we feel like we would be good partners with, should the commission be revamped to create a rail trail with the railroad and be a part of that. If it's decommissioned, we would be hopeful that we would not lose the right-of-way that a lot of time and money was invested, and that could be used to build the rail trail to Virginia City. Once our rail trail is completed, 5 counties will be connected, and since we connect to the Tahoe Pyramid Trail on the north and will connect to the Martin Slough on the south, we will attract visitors from all over the world for 1 to 2 week bike packing and end-to-end hiking trips that will go from the dam at Lake Tahoe to Pyramid Lake to Carson City to Virginia City to Gardnerville and Genoa and Douglas County. This would be a big asset to northern Nevada. And so we would feel like we would be a big asset for this area. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
My name is Kim Fagert. I used to run an operation called the Gold Hill Historical Society, and I've personally been involved in this project since its conception in the early 1990s. Using our operation as a tool. We managed to contribute to the project early on almost $1 million as far as in-kind donations and grants and such like that to get the whole thing off the ground. So that'll give you an idea of my interest in this. One thing that kind of ended up in us being here is when the commission was constructed, it was built with some operational flaws that I think have prevented the whole thing from being able to live up to its potential. It doesn't have a lot of other ways besides tax money and what little revenue otherwise it pulls in to create enhancements and stuff like that and do a better job of attracting its base customers. And there's not a lot of support in the area for something that doesn't look like it's going to benefit a lot of the businesses, which of course that was what the project was sold on. The original engineering study, which I just reviewed not too long ago, indicated that there should be a minimum of 160,000 riders a year if everything was in place similar to other operations throughout the United States. The last numbers that I'm aware of, it hovers around between 8 and 12,000 riders a year. So you can see that there's quite a bit of difference between what it was projected to provide to the tourist economy and what it has been able to manage to do. And I think a lot of that's because basically, for all intents, it has just been managed as expediency almost from the start rather than, an ongoing project that needs further development. Now, under the circumstances...
I thank you so much for your comments. We've passed the 2-minute mark.
Pardon me.
That's okay. Could you do me a favor and spell your last name for the record?
F as in Frank, E-G-E-R-T.
Thank you so much. And if you have any written comments, you can leave those with our committee secretary to put them into the record.
I just appreciate it if you'd pass this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in Carson City that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 32? Not seeing any. Not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas. Broadcast, do we have anyone on the phone lines that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 32?
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 32, press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers to testify in support.
Thank you so much. Then we will close support and we'll move to opposition. Is there anyone that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 32? Not seeing anyone here at the table. Not seeing anyone in Las Vegas. Broadcast, do we have anyone on the phone line that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 32?
Testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 32, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers to testify in opposition.
Thank you so much. Then we will move to the neutral position. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to testify in the neutral on Assembly Bill 32? Not seeing any. Not seeing anyone move to the table in Las Vegas. Broadcast, do we have anyone on the phone line that would like to testify in neutral on Assembly Bill 32?
To testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 32, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers to testify in neutral.
Thank you so much. And with that, we will invite the sponsors, presenters to come back for any closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Chair Monroe Moreno. For the record, Cameron Gresh, Carson City. Absolutely, we understand that since this is a more fiscally focused committee, we glossed over a lot of the reasoning and background behind how the V&T works. However, we are more than happy to have those discussions offline. And if there's anything more we can provide, please let us know. Other than that, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Yeah, Clay Mitchell, Story County, for the record. I just want to reinforce that while this operation continues, some of the unique structural aspects of it and the history of the state and federal funding and local funding coming together, it has a unique structure, and that's why we're asking for a little bit of help to figure out if there's the commitment to continued growth, or if we need to look at other ways to make sure that it's financially viable, or if it's not, to then figure out what those options are as well. And so we appreciate you indulging us and letting us present this bill. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being here tonight, and I encourage you to continue the conversations that Assemblymember Torres Fawcett mentioned when she questioned you. With that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 32. And we'll move to the next item on our agenda, Assembly Bill 117. We'll invite one of our own members to the table. Assemblymember Brown May. You can start whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Tracy Brown May. I am proud to represent Nevada Assembly District 42. I am here today to present Assembly Bill 117, which is a special license plate honoring the Las Vegas Lady Aces. The fiscal note on this that has been uploaded is 0 from the Department of Motor Vehicles. And additionally, they have requested an amendment to put back in a clause that we inadvertently left out requiring audit to ensure the funds that go from the purchase of the specialty license plate are audited to the nonprofit's mission, as many other plates are. That is the entirety of my presentation. I'm happy to stand for questions.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember, and I am in receipt of their email, and the email also saying even with the amendment, the fiscal note would still be at 0. Members, do you have any questions for Assemblymember Brown May? I wish we could. I wish we could. All right, not seeing any. I'll ask you to take a seat back, and we'll invite anyone who's here to testify in support of Assembly Bill 117.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, for the record, Andrew McKay, M-A-C-K-A-Y. I'm the Executive Director of the Franchise Auto Dealers Association. At risk of stepping on perhaps a third rail of Nevada legislative politics, I'm actually going to somewhat hit on policy. Indulge me, I was not able to make the committee meeting. I just want to make sure we put it on the record that we support the bill, particularly with respect to the language in Section 3, subsection 3, D1. There are oftentimes we'll register a vehicle on behalf of our customers, and they want a specialty plate, and we're unable to do it. And this is going to fix it, and we're going to be able to provide better service to the vehicle buyers in the state of Nevada. So, Madam Chair, I'll get away from this table. You guys have had a long day. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else here in Carson City and no one at the table in Las Vegas. Broadcast, do we have anyone joining us on the phone line that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 117?
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 117, please press star 9 now to join the queue. Chair, there are no callers to testify at this time.
Thank you. Then we'll move to opposition. Is there anyone that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 117? Not seeing any here in Carson City and no one at the table in Las Vegas. Broadcast, do we have anyone on the phone lines that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 117?
To provide testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 117, please press star 9 to join the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you. And we'll move to neutral. Is there anyone here in Carson City who'd like to testify in the neutral position? Not seeing any. Not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas. Broadcast, do we have anyone on the phone line that would like to testify in the neutral position on Assembly Bill 117?
To provide testimony in neutral for Assembly Bill 117, please press star 9 now to join the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you. With that, and the sponsor of the bill says she has no closing remarks, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 117. In 1 minute while we switch out.
I'll go ahead and call our meeting back to order, and I will go ahead and open the hearing on Assembly Bill 475. And obviously, I'll welcome our chair and Mr. Norman to the table to present this bill. So feel free to begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Vice Chair Bacchus and committee for hearing Assembly Bill 475. I'm Assembly Member Danielle Monroe Moreno. Joining me here at the table is Mr. Jonathan Norman. This bill makes appropriations to Clark County and the City of Reno for eviction diversion programs. The reason this bill is important, knowing the times that we're living in are going to get a little bit more interesting than they have been. There is a need and has been a need for eviction support in our state, and I believe it's only going to get greater. To go into the details of the bill and some amendments will be Mr. Norman. And with your permission, Vice Chair, I will turn it over to Mr. Norman.
Thank you, Assembly Member Danielle Monroe Moreno, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Jonathan Norman, NORMAN, Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers. Thank you so much for hearing this bill. Nevada has around 85,000 evictions filed every year, summary evictions. Eviction diversion, so in the 2023 session, there was an appropriation in AB 396 to Clark County, Reno, and Sparks. It was a total for Clark of $12 million, $3 million for Reno, and $3 million for Sparks. In the time since then, that money has been put to good use. Las Vegas Justice Court and Reno Justice Court stood up, and Las Vegas Justice Court built on a program, and then Reno Justice Court stood up a program for eviction diversion nested within the courts. To show the power of that, 81% of tenants in Las Vegas who participated in that program avoided eviction. That's 1,928 households. At the start of the program, tenants had a 65% no-show rate for their diversion appointment. We've shrunk that to 25% no-show rate. Landlord engagement has improved. And 1,375 of the diverted cases in 2024 were households with an adult with a disability, and 575 were seniors. In Reno Justice Court, that program started later in time, but they were obviously giving rental assistance countywide the whole time. 94 households went through the eviction diversion program, and 80% of those remained housed. And of those 72% remained in the same unit 90 days later. So the effectiveness of eviction diversion programs, I think, is shown in the last 2 years. We're joined, I have more phone of friends today than I think I've ever had. So we have And I'll do a walkthrough of the bill, but when we go to questions, we have folks in those courts and from those jurisdictions who can testify. We have Nick Saccone from, I might have messed up his name, and I apologize, from the city of Reno, Monica Kirch, who's the Director of Housing and Neighborhood Development, Elaine Weissman, who is the housing manager from Reno, and Joanna Jacob from Clark County. In addition, we're joined here by Judge Birchie, who leads the housing court in Reno Justice Court, and in Las Vegas, we have Judge Goody, who does the same in Las Vegas Justice Court. And now I'll do a brief walkthrough of the bill. Section 1 of the bill makes an appropriation to Clark County for $18 million for eviction diversion programs. Subsection 2 allows subgrants for the same purpose and allows up to 10% of that money to be used to administer the program. Subsection 3 requires reporting of expenditures to the Interim Finance Committee. Subsection 4 sets the timeline the money must be committed and spent by and requires reversion to the general fund by September of 2027. Section 2 of the bill makes an appropriation to the City of Reno for $7 million for eviction diversion programs, and then the remainder of Section 2 tracks the same language as Section 1. Section 3 of the bill is just the effective passage date upon approval, and then there is an amendment from Washoe County which adds to Section 2, subsection 5, a provision that explicitly requires the City of Reno to service unincorporated Washoe County and the City of Sparks. So all residents in the City of Sparks, Reno, and unincorporated Clark County have the same criteria for being eligible for assistance. This provision puts into the bill what has been the practice of the City of Reno for over the interim. And so the appropriation in AB 396, the City of Reno serviced the entire unincorporated Washoe County, I almost said Clark County, Washoe County, the City of Reno, and the City of Sparks. And our folks who are in our phone a friend category here have data to back up that they have serviced the whole region. And with that, I think we're ready for questions.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Members, do we have any questions for the presenters? I'll go to Assemblymember O'Neill.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I appreciate that. And I got to tell you, I like the bill, and I know that we have experienced statewide issues with rentals, including rental assistance is needed statewide. So what I'm asking, as a representative is from my District 40, which includes a lot of the rurals, historically, I think we have left out the rurals by accidental, possibly last session or so. Has there been any consideration for adding funding to address our rurals?
I am going to let Mr. Norman, Danielle Monroe Moreno for the record, I'm going to let Mr. Norman speak to what happened last session. I will say what happened this session. This bill was modeled off of the bill from last session. I did receive an email today at 1:17 p.m. I have been in committee meeting since 7 o'clock this morning. I have not had an opportunity to review this. I will review the amendment, and if it's amenable to add to the bill, then I will add that for the work session, but I was not looking through it today.
And I appreciate that. I've been with you on several of those
Yes, you
committee
have.
meetings today.
Yes, you have.
So you actually got it before I did, but I wanted to bring it up, and I really would appreciate the conversation. And I should remember what happened in 23, but I will say I forgot.
Jonathan Norman for the record. I appreciate the question. There's no intention to leave out Nevadans in the state from rental assistance. Last session, the rurals decided that they had enough of the tranches of money that had come with ARPA that they did not need an appropriation for that biennium.
May I just add, from sitting on the Salvation Army with our small allotment that we had for rental assistance, we went through it left and right. Also, my church has gone through it. So I'm more aware of it. You're right, we had it. So I would appreciate the conversation, and thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair, for the time.
You're welcome. Members, any other questions for our presenters? With that, we can go ahead and open the hearing to take testimony in support of Assembly Bill 475. Let's start here in Carson City, so feel free to begin when you all are ready.
Nick Ciccone. Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. Nick Ciccone, representing the City of Reno. Just wanted to say thank you to the bill sponsor for bringing forward this bill last session when AB 396 was amended to include the City of Reno. That was definitely one of the proudest moments of my life, and it went a long way. We serviced about 1,400 individuals, leveraging other federal funding to keep people housed, and that was really important to me and to the City of Reno. So thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Vice Chair Backus. I believe we passed over into evening, so I'll just go ahead and say it. Joanna Jacob, JACOB, on behalf of Clark County, I wanted to say ditto from my colleague from City of Reno. We were very thankful for the appropriation last session. And also additionally, thank you again to this legislative body for the additional appropriation to Clark County. We have historically been serving our community with rental assistance and eviction prevention efforts since the CARES Act and everybody's favorite CARES Act, and then the ARPA funds. And we have been deploying multiple versions of the funding. To date, I actually polled you if you are interested from January 1st to 2024 to just yesterday. We have served over with our existing eviction prevention programs, 2,400 households, our fixed income program, about 585 households. And that is really for fixed income. It's for our folks who cannot adjust to market pressures, where they're living on Social Security benefits, VA benefits, or for pension benefits. So there was some comments about City of Reno has, like Clark County, been supporting their other jurisdictions. That I thought you might be interested that during that time period, we served individuals in the city of Las Vegas, 1,277 families, in Henderson, 127 families, and in North Las Vegas, 185 families. So I like to say for Clark County, we don't look at zip code. We do this for our region. So thank you again for the appropriation. And thank you to Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno for bringing this forward. We're in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael Hillerby, on behalf of the City of Sparks. Also, ditto those comments. Thank the sponsor for bringing this forward. Thank you for your consideration. And we appreciate the collegiality of our sister local governments in the Truckee Meadows. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Backus, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Cadence Matijevich, Cadencematijevich, representing Washoe County. And as you heard from Mr. Norman during the bill presentation, Washoe County does have an amendment that we would ask that you consider to this bill to make it clear that the funding that's being appropriated to the City of Reno should be available to all residents of Washoe County. We would like to commend the work that the City of Reno did with the money that was awarded to them under AB 396. They've done an incredible job in putting together programs that have indeed been to the benefit of all of the residents in our community. And we have really no concern that they wouldn't do that going forward. But as we know, things change, people in roles change. And so we just felt it was important to have that clarity here in the bill. We would like to thank Assemblymember Monroe Moreno for her leadership on this, and Assemblymember Anderson for your push last session to be sure that money was also included for Northern Nevada. We would urge your support for this measure once again. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Vice Chair and members of the committee. For the record, I'm Mindy Elliott, MENDYELLIOTT, here on behalf of Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority in strong support for AB 475. And we certainly want to thank the bill sponsor. I think we've heard the statistics. They speak for themselves. And this funding goes a long way, whether it's in Reno or Washoe County or in Clark County or wherever it might help us. So thank you so much. And we certainly want to commend Assemblymember Danielle Monroe Moreno in her leadership and caring for our citizens in the state. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 475 this evening? Doesn't look like it. We'll go to the phone lines. ABH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 475?
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 475, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon, Chair Monroe Moreno and members of Assembly Ways and Means. I'm Aaron Sheets, SHEETS, the CEO of HopeLink of Southern Nevada. HopeLink is a lead distributor of rental assistance in Southern Nevada, and we are happy to support AB 475. 2024 alone, HopeLink distributed over $8 million, consisting of more than 5,500 rental assistance payments directly to landlords and property managers, stopping evictions and securing stability for over 15,000 Nevadans. The infusion of $25 million to Nevada for eviction diversion efforts is critical to keep at-risk Nevadans housed, as these efforts are the most cost-effective homelessness prevention interventions we have available to us. We appreciate Speaker Yeager and the legislature for supporting eviction diversion efforts and look forward to helping the community for many years to come. Thank you for hearing this bill.
Chair, there are no additional callers for support testimony.
Thank you so much. We'll come back to Carson City. Is anyone in Carson City wishing to give testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 475 this evening? We'll go up into Las Vegas. I'm not sure if you're there to give testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 475. If you are, make your way to the dais. If not, we can go to the phone lines. AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 475?
We have no additional callers for opposition testimony.
Thank you so much. Last, we will go to testimony in the neutral. We'll take that here in Carson City.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair and members of the committee. My name is Kendra Birchie, Bertschy, and I am testifying on behalf of the Reno Justice Court in terms of I am a justice of the peace, and I am the individual who has the privilege of presiding over our eviction diversion court, as we refer to it as housing court. In August of 2024, we partnered with the City of Reno to create this housing court program. We were able to provide expedited rental assistance to tenants while also providing with supportive services. We partnered with legal aid, with Nation's Finest as well, who assist veterans in this sphere. So instead of utilizing the money from the City of Reno, we're able to also use the Nation's Finest, where we've been able to ensure that 100% of the individuals who worked with Nation's Finest have remained in their homes. We've also provided them with job opportunity training, with access to supportive services in terms of TANF assistance or things of that nature to ensure that they have what they need to be successful and sustainable. So that is why we have created this program to ensure that landlords are paid quicker with the rental assistance, thanks to a lot of the hard work from the City of Reno, but also to ensure that they remain in their homes and don't come back for the court for evictions. Without the rental assistance funding, our pilot project cannot continue. Housing court, based off of our data, which is only a small blip in what the City of Reno needs, will require at least $1 million annually in rental assistance to sustain. The appropriation of AB 475 will allow the City of Reno to continue to support tenants in housing court, as well as assisting other tenants facing eviction. The need for legislative support for rental assistance remains urgent. Economic challenges, medical emergencies, and other unforeseen events continue to put renters at risk of eviction. Without continued funding, many will face housing instability, increasing the burden on emergency services, shelters, and the judicial system, ultimately costing taxpayers more. This funding is crucial investment in community stability, public safety, and responsible governance. AB 475 is not just about rental assistance, it's about preventing avoidable evictions and ensuring long-term housing security. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. We'll go to Las Vegas now. I realize it's Judge Goody, so welcome. We'll take testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 475.
Thank you, Vice Chair and members of the committee. My name is Jessica Goody, Goodey. I am a judge with the Las Vegas Justice Court. While we cannot testify in support of policy bills, I am here to provide some additional information regarding the success of our eviction diversion program currently in place that this bill would allow to continue. The eviction diversion program has made significant strides in reducing evictions and increasing tenant engagement. First, I would like to provide the committee with some data regarding the filed evictions. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, Las Vegas Justice Court had approximately 30,000 cases filed per year. Since the pandemic, we have continued to see the record high eviction filings. In 2024, Las Vegas Justice Court had 43,030 evictions filed. To date, in 2025, we have had 9,885 evictions, and we are anticipating that number to continue to increase with the current state of affairs. The program is currently limited to serving our most vulnerable populations, the elderly and disabled. The Las Vegas Justice Court Eviction Diversion Program has successfully assisted over 3,150 households. Of those, 56% included individuals with disabilities, 24% were elderly, and the remaining 20% had at least one household member who was both elderly and disabled. Thanks to the efforts of the Eviction Diversion Program and our amazing staff, 77% of the participants were able to avoid an eviction on their record. To help with this, we have expanded the contact we are having with our tenants. They have approximately 10 touch points with the court throughout the process. The initial contact is in person or over the phone, where they schedule an appointment with our social services. Upon scheduling that, they receive 2 emails from the court, one with the order assigning them to the eviction diversion program and another with a calendar invite to add to their schedule. Following this, the tenants receive 7 additional reminders about their appointments, which include 1 phone call, 3 text messages, and 3 email reminders. This has allowed us to reduce our no-show rate from 65% to 25%. At both the initial court meeting and the appointment with social services, tenants are provided with information about additional resources available to them. This allows them to have wider access to support, from financial assistance to housing and social services, helping to address their broader needs. Since December of 2023, a total of $5,553,824.80 in rental assistance has been distributed. And it's important to note that money has went directly to the landlords. So we are both assisting the tenants and the landlords in allowing effective and efficient resolution of the eviction cases. It's our hope through continued funding to expand this program. We are already in the process of expanding it to our mobile home communities. And should the funding be allocated, we will expand to households with young children. The continued funding of this program is vital to reducing evictions for the most vulnerable populations. We appreciate the committee's time and attention to this matter, and we are available to answer any questions you might have regarding how our program works. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. We will go to the phone lines. AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 475?
Chair, we still have no callers for neutral.
Great. With that, we can go ahead and invite the bill sponsor back up for any closing remarks.
Jonathan Norman, for the record. Thank you, Vice Chair and members of the committee. Judge Goody mentioned something that I want to put a point on is the reason the ask is higher is because we do want to expand beyond seniors and adults with disabilities to those families with young kids. And in Clark County, there's identified about 1,600 families with a child under the age of 1 who are at risk for eviction. So this would allow us to route those cases to eviction diversion programs as well.
Danielle Monroe Moreno, for the record, and Madam Vice Chair, I just wanted to say one thing. I failed to thank Assemblymember Anderson for the work that she did during the 23 session in making sure that families were taken care of, and thank her again on the record for traveling throughout our entire state, hitting all 17 counties and seeing how these dollars really impacted some of the families in our state.
Thank you. So we can go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 475 and move on to opening the hearing for Assembly Bill 506. We'll welcome our chair back up to present on Assembly Bill 506.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Bacchus and committee. For the record, I am Assembly Member Danielle Monroe Moreno. I proudly represent Assembly District 1 in Clark County. And here's the boring part of our evening. As I've told this committee, I knew we didn't have a lot of money to do a lot of great things with, so we were going to spend some time cleaning up some things to make our jobs a lot easier, more efficient, and better. And that's what Assembly Bill 506 is. It revises provisions relating to governmental administration, eliminates several reporting requirements that currently mandate various state agencies, departments, and entities to submit reports to the Interim Finance Committee, otherwise known as IFC, when the legislature is not in session. The bill will eliminate the following reporting requirements to us. The first one, the requirement for the Attorney General to submit annual statements on the registry account. Next, the Executive Director of the Office of Economic Development to report on certain economic development programs related to the Catalyst account. Next, the requirement of the Department of Corrections to report on accounts receivable for prison industries. The next one is the Legislative Bureau of Educational Accountability and Program Evaluation, otherwise known as the LEBEAPE, to submit reports to certain legislative bodies on odd-numbered years. Next, the Merit Award Board to report on employee suggestions for the local governments to submit performance contracts reports to the IFC. Next, the Purchasing Division on contracts with veteran-owned businesses. Next, state boards or commissions that hire consultants pursuant to NRS 333.705.7. Next, the Board of Trustees of the College Savings Plan of Nevada annual report regarding the Higher Education Prepaid Tuition Trust Fund. Next, the requirement for the State Board of Education to submit a quarterly report on variances from the pupil-teacher ratio that are requested by a school district. Next, the Department of Health and Human Services on child care grants. Next, the requirement for local air pollution control agencies to report annually on the use of money received from the pollution control account. Next, the bill removes the reporting requirements for special distributions from the contingency account related to water rights. Next, the State Contractors Board regarding the Recovery Fund. Next, reports from the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine on cannabis research. Next, the requirement for Dieter and the Housing Division of B&I to report on contractual relationships with nonprofit collaboratives in creating jobs in the fields of energy efficiency and renewable energy. Next, the requirement for the State Public Works Board, school districts, and the Board of Regents to report on certain projects for weatherization and retrofitting. Next, the requirement for the Public Utilities Commission to submit reorganization plans to the IFC. Next, reporting on certain sales and use tax related proceeds, which would be Section 13.3 of the Clark County Sales and Use Tax Act of 2005, contained a provision requiring certain information to be reported to the IFC, specifically those reports related to the expenditures made using these revenues between July 1st of 2013 to June 30th of 2016 that supplanted other revenue sources during that period. These reports continue to be submitted to the IFC even after June 30th of 2016, which was the expiration date by Clark County. However, they were not required. As such, the provisions can be eliminated from this bill. And finally, reporting on school districts consultants pursuant to NRS 391.155. And with that, Madam Vice Chair, I can stand for questions and justification for any of the items being removed.
Thank you so much. We have a question. We'll go over to Assembly Member Dickman.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Did you go through every single one? Because you found a lot of them, but I bet there's more.
Danielle Monroe Moreno, for the record, I would love to say that I was that dedicated, but I have to say we have amazing staff that did this.
Well, it's pretty extensive and awesome. Thank you.
You may have a question offline. Any members, do you have any other questions? Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and open up testimony in support of Assembly Bill 506. We'll start here in Carson City. We don't have anyone in Las Vegas, doesn't look like, so we'll go to AVH. AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 506?
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers to provide testimony at this time.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and open up testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 506 in Carson City. It doesn't look like anyone's coming up. It doesn't look like we have anyone in Las Vegas, so we'll go back to AVH. AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 506?
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers to provide testimony at this time.
Thank you so much. We'll move to testimony in the neutral. Is there anyone here wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 506? Not Las Vegas. We'll go to the phone line. AVH, is there anyone that's joined us on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 506?
Chair, there are no callers to provide neutral testimony.
Thank you so much. With that, we'll invite the bill sponsor back up for any closing remarks. She'll go ahead and waive those this evening, so we can go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 506. We'll move to opening the hearing on Assembly Bill 507, and we'll welcome our chair right back up to present our next bill.
Thank you, Vice Chair Backus and committee. I am Assembly Member Danielle Monroe Moreno, and thank you for hearing Assembly Bill 507. Assembly Bill 507 is another one of those cleanup bills for the Ways and Means Committee. It revises provisions relating to the state financial administration. AB 507 would establish a minimum threshold for a work program to require approval by the Interim Finance Committee. Under the provisions of the bill, for the revision of a work program to require approval by the IFC, the request must, 1, propose a revision in one or more of the categories of expenses within the work program in a total amount of more than $75,000, regardless of any other revisions of the work program during the fiscal year. And 2, cumulatively, based on other revisions of the work program during the fiscal year, increase or decrease by 20% or $350, whichever is less, the expenditure level approved by the legislature for any of the categories of expenses within the work program. This bill attempts to clarify the legislative intent behind the two-part test required for work programs submitted to the IFC. There is some confusion, or there has been some confusion over the current language because it does not explicitly state that there is a two-part test to determine if a work program requires IFC approval. This has led to numerous work programs submitted to the IFC approval that are below the initial $75,000 threshold. This bill seeks to specify that a work program must first meet the $75,000 minimum threshold. If it does, it must also result in an increase or decrease of at least 20% or $350,000, whichever is lower, in the expenditure level approved by the legislature for any expense category in order for it to require interim finance committee approval. In addition, this bill provides that a proposed revision of a work program must not be divided into separate requests to avoid the minimum threshold. And with that, Madam Chair, stand for questions.
Thank you so much. Members, do we have any questions for our chair? I think we do. Assemblymember Dickman.
It's not a question, but thank you, Vice Chair. I just love these cleanup bills. So keep doing more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I will echo that. I said that to her earlier today. Though people may not realize, we'll see what she's doing now, and those that follow her may not realize, but they definitely will benefit from this work. With that, we can go ahead and open up testimony in support of Assembly Bill 507. Anyone wishing to give testimony in support of 507 here in Carson City, please make your way to the dais. It looks like we still don't have anyone in Las Vegas, so AVH, has anyone joined us wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 507?
Chair, there are no callers to provide testimony at this time.
Thank you so much. We'll go and move to testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 507. We'll start here in Carson City. Doesn't look like anyone's making their way here. We still don't have anyone in Las Vegas, so AVH, is there anyone that's joined us on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 507?
Chair, we still have no callers for opposition testimony.
Great. We will move to neutral testimony. We'll go ahead and start in Carson City with neutral testimony to Assembly Bill 507. I don't see anyone making their way to the dais. We still don't have anyone in Las Vegas, so AVH, has anyone joined us on the phone line wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 507?
We've had no callers join for testimony.
Thank you so much, and I believe our chair is waiving closing comments as to Assembly Bill 507. So with that, we'll go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 507, and I'll turn it back to our chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And that brings us up to the last thing on our agenda for tonight, and that is public comment. If you'd like to call in for public comment, the number again is 888-475-4499. Our meeting ID is 8988-601-2496, and then please press pound. Is there anyone here in Carson City that'd like to make public comment? Not seeing anyone come to the table, not seeing anyone in Las Vegas. Broadcast, do we have anyone joining us on the phone line that would like to make public comment?
Thank you, Chair. The public lines are open and working. However, there are no callers at this time.
Thank you so much. So with that, members, our meeting is over. Wishing you all a happy weekend and safe travels during your weekend. Our meeting is adjourned.